So, not as hot with a shirt, without a shirt on. Right? Very good. Um, so we are talking about Republicans and gay people. And I have a little bit of a headache, so I'm going to be more offensive. And yet, more offensive. So, Republicans and gay people. So, okay, Republicans don't like gay people. Um, it's kind of true all kinds of ways. The Republicans who do like gay people are awesome because, they're conservative and yet LGBTQIA, uh, do the letters. I didn't have to say more than that. Um, Republicans who are good because they believe in freedom, small government, and or you know less money to go to because when I hear Republican, I hear the definition which the Republicans hold to, uh, and yet violates indiscriminately, which is fun because they don't discriminate against themselves for being bigots. They just discriminate against other people who they feel that they have a right to be bigoted against, or whatever. Um, so let's look at conservatives and Republicans. They want less government, less. They want more for themselves. Conservative. Republicans, opposite side of Democrats. It kind of means the same thing, except they're not. Alright, so lots of Republicans, not all, are believers in Jesus Christ, which is awesome. I happen to be pantheistic, so yes, I get that. Um, but a theist and a pantheist are two way different things. Let me break it down to you. A theist believes that there is a god and or super weird pantheon, technically, that there is theo, pantheo, um, some con, some kind of god and or gods, goddesses, things that are right, and disregarding the other beliefs of the other theo pantheo believers. So theists, as theo, um, which is good because theory and theist have the same. Uh, and you know what theories are? Theories are, truth, and theists are people who believe in truth. And hypothesis and pantheists are outside of that word thing because theists and pantheists believe in divinity. Atheism, we don't believe in divinity. theories are laws that we have yet to debunk. Hypotheses are suggested ideas of theories. So, Theo, wasn't he? Wasn't he Bill Cosby's son in the show? Theo, boy, the hot young black dude who wasn't he Carlton, the lame black dude in Fresh Prince? They were the same person, right? Or were they? Who knows? Some people are probably gonna look it up if they give a shit. But we are not talking about the black kid who was portrayed the son of Bill Cosby, because that's kind of an embarrassment now. Huxtables. We don't like that word anymore. It's kind of dirty now. Jello pudding pops is kind of dirty as well. Tangent. Focus back. Okay, so the original thing was Republicans and gay people. Like I said, Republicans usually believe in God. And I've already explained how a belief in God does not connote like grudge, whatever. Republicans are normally theists. Very seldom are pantheists. Being a pantheist or an atheist are the only two choices that we as human beings have. You believe in divinity and everybody's belief, or you believe in no divinity, and theism is just cherry picking, which apparently Republicans, conservatives, and bigots are good at, because they like the ripe cherries that are wonderful. Let me pop the cherries. There is an idea that I'm going to say Christians, but Mormons, Catholics, a bunch of them who believe in Jesus, which I do as well, but I'm nowhere near as proud to think that Jesus hated anybody, because that's not what Jesus did. He kind of loved everybody. But apparently, Christian fundamentalists, which are the most rabies-driven, insane, psycho prosecutors of the... And it's super weird. The Republicans have been painted and or associated with fundamentalist Christians, because Republicans are not supposed to be fundamentalist Christians according to definitions. Republicans just happen to be associated with fundamentalist Christians because most of the fundamentalist Christians are conservative and or more for us, less for you, which is what conservative means, which is fun, and kind of tragic. Fundamentalist Christians believe, and they believe that Fundamentalist Christian. What do they believe? They believe that they have the authorization of the God of the universe to uh, define things. They believe that they have God's authority. They believe that they should not be subjected to pain because in the Christian fundamentalist belief, you don't have to be subjected to pain. And everything about Christian fundamentalism is an escape from pain. If we are doing the doing the math, which Christian fundamentalists hate math. They go 1 and 1 is 3. It is, but the standard definition and logic states 1 and 1 is 2. Christians believe that 1 and 1 is 3. They're kind of right, kind of wrong. Get to that later. Just Christians are not okay with them, another person, and that's it. They believe that them and another person, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Nope. Fundamentalist Christians believe 1 and 1 equals 3 because there's always number 3, God watching. Judging, being, having authority. So, when Christians, fundamentalists, and or the morons from every other religion go, no, logic dictates that 1 and 1 plus is 2. But no, that's wrong. It's 3, because it's me, something else, 2, and then God, which is always the third and most important protagonist. Oh, it's all right. Trying to filter this out. Because I'm really trying to get past the insane hate that fundamentalists, most notably Christian fundamentalists, have. Because, to be a Christian is really an education on knowing how to hate. I mean, to be a Christian, you have to accept that there's one person you can hate. You are not allowed to hate, period, no matter what. And because he's associated with some words, you can't hate that either. And yet you can treat it like Rihanna and just like beat it up and fuck it and beat it up and fuck it. And we have no, idea of the validity of it. So because there's somebody in back of us and or above us that we are not allowed to disparage, get angry with, or anything. The person behind us is actually not just one person. It's 3 people. But there is something associated with him that comes in a book. And so somebody we are not allowed to hate, mom, dad, uncle, auntie, grandpa, whoever you think is important, said a few things, because he is infallible and 1 and 1, so the person behind you who cannot make a mistake, you who you're not allowed to accept mistakes that you make, even though the person behind you says that you can't not make mistakes, and you're making mistakes, and actually you are a mistake when you come right down to it. So the person behind you, Jesus, Son, the Father, and Holy Ghost, behind you, who is better than you, and bringing up the rear, and then you, who's ahead because you're alive, and the people behind you, 1, 2, and 3, Father, Son, they can't pick up a cigarette butt. So they are better than you and yet less powerful. Uh, so that's important, right? Um, Knowing that somebody is more powerful, or better than you, and yet not as powerful as you, gives you the right to decide how they are better and exert your power on their behalf, because they're better and therefore worthy of adoration, and yet they can do nothing. So you are you a hero? Ooh. I mean, when you're acting on behalf of something that's better than you and yet has less power than you, that's the definition of a hero, right? So in the Christian mindset, fundamentalist, and or the more closely you adhere to the only contact and or um, voice of this thing that's better and yet less powerful than you, is a bunch of words, written down, and so you follow those according to your designation of what power and better is, right? So, dude behind you, better than you, not as powerful because you're the one that can pick up the cigarette butt, but somebody behind you and or who is very aware of you is better than you. So, yet less powerful because you see no ability of him, even though he's better. Those are better. They are actually so much better than you that you're not allowed to understand how much better than they are than you. And yet, you conceive of the idea that they cannot pick up a cigarette butt. And so you have to pick up the cigarette butt for them, ask them, which garbage can do I put it in? And hey, is this a cigarette butt? Because I don't know. And then you have a whole bunch of people who think like you, who realize the perfection and or betterness of the thing behind you, who's watching you all the time, judging you, and they can because they're better. And yet you are, more powerful. So you have to figure that out. And it is work. And I feel so sorry for the fundamentalist Christian. They have to do way too much work. They have to lynch people, stone people, hate people, rape people, terrorize people, force people, and yet they still have to be human and pick up cigarette butts. Bummer. See, wow. I do feel sorry for the fundamentalist Christians. Not because they're pathetic. I'm not allowed to believe that anybody is ever pathetic, except in the case of looking at myself, because I am the worst pathetic that you have seen, or whatever. I'm not allowed to have that opinion about anybody else, so. But, uh, just because they're not pathetic doesn't mean they are not wrong in their understanding of this 1 plus 1 equals 3 equation, which is like worthy of pity and empathy, yeah. Uh, the ones that try so hard to be good usually are the ones that are the worst, and or the ones who really never had an idea that they were good, and so function solely upon the dude behind me is better than me. I'm the only one that can speak up for this dude. I'm so good, and yet I have no confidence in myself and or anybody else. So I'm just gonna do the dude behind me, who's better than me, no matter what. Right? And I have no power, and yet I'm going to use the no power that I have to function according to the perceived idea that somebody who's behind me, who's better, maybe wants me to be. But, and yet I have no power. Right? This is very close to my argument against atheism, which is awesome. So it's important to realize that you can take powerlessness as a bad thing. You can take goodness as a good thing. You can take somebody who's better than you as an awesome thing and or the worst thing you've ever done. And then you can take actions according to your power level, which you know, the the Saiyans, they actually have like a goggle thing. They can measure your power level. You never want to see that power level number thing. And most of us really are super focused on seeing what power level we have when the number always says 0. And to those fundamentalists who've actually seen that number upon the Saiyan power goggle list, when you look at yourself and go, oh, power level is 0, you rebel. You get angry, and you really, because when people are angry with people that they love, who they think are better, they don't yell, scream, bitch slap, and fight. They destroy themselves and try and make themselves somebody who's worthy of the approval from the better that's behind you, when you've already got it. You never didn't have it. Power level 0, which is awesome. We all have that compared to divinity, compared to the dude who's behind us and better than us. There is no ability for us to affect the awesomeness of the person behind us. And when we think we can reinforce, and or act upon somebody who's better than us's wishes, unless we have a direct communication between the one who's better than us and us, and a divine mandate to act, then we just are powerless and should not use the fact that we're human and power level 0 to enforce the will of somebody who can totally do it himself and doesn't need you to do anything for somebody like him. And so the only other option is to die and go run and give him a hug, or stop saying that I have authority and my power level is number 1 and yours is 0. And I need to remind you of that because you really need to know how worthless you are, just like me. And or I'm giving myself a +1 on the power level scale to let you know that your power level is 0. And the really fun ones are the ones that think that I'm power level 1. Some people are power level 0, so they're not as strong as me. And there are some who are just failures and have like a negative rating on their power level. And so we need to either train them, make them stronger, and or cut them off completely because they have no right to be more powerless than I am. Even though I think I'm power level 1, and some people are power. No, but deep down I know I'm power level, so just like everybody else. And I really want to see somebody who's less than that, so I can try to help them be just as powerless as I am. It's complicated, and to be a fundamentalist, it is work because you have to like the hokey pokey or yoga or any other insane movement that denotes that you will do something that's out of bounds, because people don't do the hokey pokey when they see each other. So that's the hokey pokey dance is out of bounds. And or yoga, which is super hard to do as well in any kind of setting. I mean, the hokey pokey and yoga, both are physical, both are weird, both are awesome to do, and people are not as accepting of the yoga and the hokey pokey as we think, being that we love the yoga and the hokey pokey. We want them to feel that maybe the hokey pokey is awesome, and we despise the fact that somebody doesn't think the hokey pokey and or yoga is awesome, and so we have to change their mind because we really want to share our joy with the people who don't like yoga and the hokey pokey by acting upon the authority of the dude behind us who's better, and realizing that our powerlessness is powerlessness, and yet we're still think that we have power because we like the hokey pokey and yoga. Analogies, analog, do the math. I understand if we are looking at the words hokey pokey, yoga, better, and powerlessness in a different way than I am. but I hope you can do the math.